Hi, welcome to DrayTek Vigor 3912 video series. My name is Seshu and I am part of DVCOM support and training team. In this video, I am going to show it to you how to do the port setup on Vigor 3912 router. So before we are going to do the lab, try to understand what is the default settings of your Vigor 3912 router. And you can see here, by default, there is a 12 interfaces are there in Vigor 3912 router. You can see here, there is a port number 1. Let's take a different color. There is a port number 1, port number 2, port number 3, port number 4, port number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of 12 interfaces, the last 4 interfaces from port number 9 to port number 12 are dedicatedly we can use it for LAN, and these are the 1 gig interfaces. And port number 1 to port number 8, those ports we can call it as a swappable ports. So swappable is nothing but either you can use it for WAN or you can use it for LAN. So you can see here, port number 1 and port number 2 are the fiber ports. So these ports, it supports 1 gig or it supports 10 gig. And these two ports, you can use it for either LAN or WAN. So they are the swappable ports. And again, port number 3 and port number 4 are the multi-gig ports. So those ports, it supports 1 gig or 2.5 Gbps. So again, these ports, you can use it for LAN or you can use it for WAN. And again, from port number 5 to port number 8, these are the copper ports. And these ports dedicatedly, it's going to support 1 Gbps, and you can use it for either LAN or WAN. Make sure that before you are going to set up your DrayTek router, first of all, you need to understand the requirements of your customer. Based on that, you need to change these ports. Then after that, you need to start your configurations. That's what is very important, that before you are going to proceed for your configurations. So now let's go and access your Vigor 3912 router with the default IP. As you know that the default IP address is 192.168.1.1, which is /24. This is the default IP for your Vigor 3912 router. And the default username is admin and the default password is admin. And by default, the DHCP is enabled for this subnet. So the default subnet for your LAN interfaces is 192.168.1.0/24. So this is the default subnet for your LAN. And by default, the DHCP is enabled for this subnet. And if you want to access your Vigor 3912 router, either you can connect any one of your LAN interface. Either you can connect to the P9 or P10 or P11 or P12. It's up to you. So right now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to connect my laptop directly on P12 interface, so that the DHCP is enabled for this, so that I'm going to get one of the IP address from this subnet. Okay, let's go and check now what IP address I got it. Okay, let's minimize this and open the command prompt and type ipconfig. So I got the IP address is 192.168.1.10, and my DrayTek router, the default IP address is 192.168.1.1. So open the browser, then type the IP address 192.168.1.1, and as I told you, the default username is admin, the default password is admin. Then click login. The moment when you log in at first time, you are going to get a warning. So the warning saying that your router is still set to default password. So the default password is admin. You should change it via system maintenance menu. So it's always not recommend to use the default password for security concern. So it's always recommends that change the default password from secure system maintenance. Okay, I'll do that later. Thank you very much. Then after that, you guys can see here, I can see a nice dashboard, guys. In this dashboard, I can see the complete which interfaces are configured with WAN, which interfaces are configured with LAN. So you can see here, let me highlight with my pen, and these are the interfaces. It's showing the complete, right guys? So as I told you that from port number 9 to port number 12 are dedicatedly they are going to use it for the LAN. So these ports you cannot swap. But again, these ports from port number 1 to port number 8, either you can use it for the LAN or you can use it for the WAN. So according to your requirement, I mean your customer requirement, you can change these ports. And also you can see here what is the firmware version. And you can see here what is the system uptime and what is the current date and time. Everything you can able to see the complete information guys. So that's the beauty of this dashboard. And also what are the system resources is utilizing, what is the usage of your CPU, what is the usage of your memory, everything you can see it guys here from the dashboard itself you can see it. And one more interesting thing is that in case if you are connected with 10 or 100 mbps, it will show you in orange color, and if it is connected with 1 gig it will show you in green color, and if it is connected with 10 gig it will show you in blue color, and if it's connected with 2.5 it's going to show it in different color, so that you can easily identify which interfaces are connected, either 1 gig or 10 gig or 2.5 or 10 mbps or 100 mbps. That's the beauty of that. And also you can see here if you go a little bit down, you can see the LAN interface. As I told you, the default IP address is 192.168.1.1, and you can see what are the WAN interfaces which are connected, either up and running. You can able to see it right now. It's showing that all are disconnected. Why? Because it's a brand new router. I have not set it up. And also one more thing is that by default you can see here auto logout is enabled, which means in case if you are not able to do any activity, you log into your router but it's ideal because you are not doing anything, then it's automatically get log out. It's like a security guys. But if you don't want to do that, you can just simply stay off. So once you make it off, it's not going to do auto logout. So that's the beauty of that. And also if you want to log out from your DrayTek router, you can see here on the top, you can just click on the logout and you can log out from here. So now in this video, as I told you that I want to set up as a port setup, how to change from port number 1 to port number 8 according to my requirement. That's very important guys. So now what my plan is that I want to change port number 1 to port number 8 as the WAN interfaces. So how to do that? So just click on the port setup. And also one more thing, if you click on this directly, you will jump into that specific port guys. That is also one more interesting thing. Yeah. So let's go here, port number setup, and you can see port setup. Then after that you can see all the interfaces are there, but port number 9 to port number 12 you can't do any changes, and those ports by default is going to work as a LAN interfaces. So now port number 1 I want to make it as a WAN, port number 2 also I want to make it as a WAN, port number 3 by default it's WAN, port number 4 I'm going to make it as a WAN, and port number 5 to 8 I want to make it as a WAN. So what I'm trying to show you to here, these ports from port number 1 to port number 8, I'm going to use it as a WAN interfaces. You guys can see here the moment when I change it, automatically it got updated, so that it's easy for me when I log into my DrayTek router from the dashboard. I can able to see all this information. So before you are going to set up, it's always requirement, like the important is that you need to understand your customer requirement, and based on that you need to design the topology. Then after that you can proceed for the configurations. So right now, as for my requirement, port number 1 to port number 8 I want to use it for WAN. That's why I just swap all these ports into WAN interfaces, and port number 9 to port number 12 we can use it as a LAN. So now let's click on OK. Now it will ask you to reboot. Say OK. Then it's going to take few seconds guys. Then after that I will log in. It's take almost 40 seconds. After that I will log in my router and I'll show it to you. Stay tuned, and meanwhile I'm going to pause my video. Alright guys, my router has come back now, and let's go and access with the default username admin and default password is admin. Then after that click log. So again you can see here I got a warning, it's okay for me. And now I can see port number 1 to port number 8 as configured as a WAN interfaces, and these port number 9 to port number 12 I can't change it. They are belongs to a LAN interfaces. So this is what exactly how you are going to do the port setup. So as I mentioned to you earlier guys, it's always important to understand your customer requirement. Then after that, you do the basic setup according to your customer requirement and build a topology, then proceed for your configurations. So that later stages you will not find any challenges. Thanks for watching guys. For sales, please send us an email sales@datavoice.com. For support, please send us an email support@datavoice.com. I hope this has been informative and I would like to thank you for viewing.